Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. So I am back today with another Thrift Store Haul. I believe this is the 13th in this series, lucky 13. And again, like the previous ones, I will be talking both books at the beginning, and then I will talk movies at the end. This one, like the previous ones, is all DVDs, so no Blu-rays to show off this time around, but a bunch of really cool movies to talk about. So we'll start off with the books like I have been doing, and then we'll jump over to all those DVDs. There is about 18-ish DVDs, I think. I just counted and I've already forgotten. And then maybe like less than 10 books. So yeah, this should be a good one because I think there's some really fun stuff here. If you guys do enjoy this series, please give it a like down below. That really helps me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to Thrift Store Haul number 13. First up is a super thin one, but it's a classic. You can see how small it is here. But I couldn't pass it up because this is The Yellow Wallpaper and Other Stories, written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. So the Yellow Wallpaper is one of the more, famous horror classics. It's a psychological horror. I did read it a very long time ago, probably about 10 years ago now, and I don't remember too much about it. It's only 17 pages in this book here, and so I'll read it again soon just because I want to revisit it, but you can see there are a few other ones listed in there that frankly I don't recognize, but maybe you guys are aware of them. The only thing I know from this author is the yellow wallpaper, so I figured I'd grab it and see if I still enjoyed it because I remember liking it the first time through. So The Yellow Wallpaper and Other Stories, a pretty interesting one for the horror collection, and I guess it would also fit in the classics collection because it is a horror classic, but this is Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Next up is book 3 of a fantasy series where I actually found book number 1 at a thrift store either earlier this year or late last year. And so this is actually book number 3 of the, the Night Angel trilogy. So this is Beyond the Shadows, and this series is written by Brent Weeks. So I honestly don't remember much about this series. I know when I found the first one, I had been looking for it because I was watching some booktubers that were talking about this series and saying that it was pretty good. But at this point, I just don't remember what it is, but it is a fantasy series, so you have a pretty good idea of what you're getting here. But this one is a chunky one, but it's in really good shape, much like the first one was. And I found them at different thrift stores, probably 6 to 8 months apart. So I know it wasn't from the same person, where I'm assuming it wasn't from the same person anyway. But yeah, just a really cool add to the fantasy collection. And now I just need to find book 2, so I have the entire trilogy on hand. So Beyond the Shadows, written by Brent Weeks, book 3 of the Night Angel trilogy. Next up is a horror novel from an author who I would put along like the same category as someone like Jack Ketchum or Edward Lee, something like that. I don't know if he is as graphic as them because I've never read any of his work, but that's who I heard about J.F. Gonzalez thanks to reading those authors. And so this is The Beloved, and I believe it is a vampire story. So unfortunately, J.F. Gonzalez passed away a few years ago, maybe a handful of years ago now, and so I've yet to read any of his work, but I've heard great things, and so this is a good way to finally read something of his. And yeah, I've always heard that he's an excellent writer, or was an excellent writer, and I know there was a lot of sad faces when he passed away because, like I said, he was really well known along that same group. I feel like those were, I don't know if this is right, but I just feel like those were all his friends. I'm trying to think of Brian Keene is the third one I was thinking of with the same group. But yeah, so anyway, J.F. Gonzalez's The Beloved. I'm hoping that I'll get around to this one soon because it looks really cool. So really happy to add this one to the collection. Next up is from an author who I read relatively recently, and I didn't like the book I read, but it's a very well-known author that people really enjoy. So this is Tess Gerritsen, and this is The Shape of Night. And the reason I wanted to get this one, just to give Tess Gerritsen another shot, Tess Gerritsen is best known for the Rosalian Isles series. I'm honestly just blanking right now on what book it was I read, but it was like a space medical thriller, essentially. But anyway, this one is a haunted house story, so I tend to enjoy those, so I'm hoping that this will be a good way to give Gerritsen a second chance. So we'll see if I like this one better than the first one I read or not. So this is The Shape of Night, written by Tess Gerritsen. I actually just found it in the other novels. It was Gravity. That's the one I ended up reading. Like I said, it was a like medical thriller in space, and it was much too medical thrillery for me. So yeah, that's the one I didn't love, but maybe I'll like this one. We'll see. Next up are two books from a series that I'm collecting, but I've yet to read anything from. But honestly, I'm only collecting them via the thrift store at this point, and so it's okay because they're so cheap. These are both from the Anita Blake series. We have Burnt Offerings and Obsidian Butterfly, both written by Laurel K. Hamilton. So I'll be honest, I don't remember where these fall in the series. I believe one of these was the next one I needed, and then the other one was a little bit later in the series, but I'm not going to pass them up for the price. So both books from the Anita Blake series, we have Burnt Offerings and Obsidian Butterfly, written by Laurel K. Hamilton. Speaking of series that I have a collection of, I'm not actively collecting this one, but when I see it, why not? You know, this is The Cat Who Had 14 Tails, written by Lillian Jackson Braun. So this is part of the Cat Who series. And I was able to find a boatload of these last year. So if you've been watching since then, you might remember that. But this is actually a short story collection in that same universe. I'm assuming following the same characters. So yeah, this is just another one for that collection that I already have started. So I figured, why not grab it? It's one I didn't have, and I don't typically see ones I don't have anymore with this one. So very happy to add The Cat Who Had 14 Tails, written by Lillian Jackson Braun. I saved the best book for last. This is a shout out to all you wrestling fans that watch. This is The Hardcore Diaries, written by Mick Foley, and it's in hardcover, and I am so happy I found this. This is actually the only book from Foley that I didn't already have in my collection. I do have, like, Foley is Good, and then his first one, the name is escaping me. But yeah, Mick Foley is one of the greatest of all time. He's an amazing human being from all accounts, and just one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And so I was so happy to find this one. It is in pretty decent shape, not great, but decent. So I am so happy that I now have all of Mick Foley's books in my collection. Just a really cool find that I had to take a double take on when I saw it there. So The Hardcore Diaries, written by Mick Foley, is the last book I grabbed. So now let's jump over to those DVDs I picked up. As per usual, there is no rhyme or reason to the order to these at all. So first up, we have Helen of Troy from 2003. And this one is actually, I believe, a miniseries. It was a miniseries when it first aired in 2003, because it's like 3 hours long, and there's 2 discs. And so I think there was a 2-parter. But yeah, so this one I don't know much about. It's, of course, the story of Helen of Troy, and that was kind of enough. It looks interesting. So yeah, we'll see if this one turns out to be any good or not. It had a good IMDb score, if I remember right, so hopefully it'll be pretty entertaining. Helen of Troy from 2003. Next up is a movie that I grabbed purely for the actress that's in it because I love her. This is Rachel Bilson in Waiting for Forever. And then it also stars Tom Sturridge, who frankly I don't even recognize or know the name. So there's that. But this one was from 2009 and it is just a romance. And so yeah, Rachel Bilson I am a huge fan of because she is the lead character in Heart of Dixie, which I think I've talked about before. My wife started watching it and then I kind of got addicted to it as well because it is just genuinely hilarious. Rachel Bilson is just so damn funny. She's an excellent actress. And so I figured, let's give this one a shot. If nothing, my wife will watch it. So at least there's that. Waiting for Forever from 2009, which I specifically grabbed only for Rachel Bilson. This next one is from 1994, and I know that somebody somewhere said to me that this was their favorite movie of all time, and so prior to that, I'd never heard of it, so it was always on my radar ever since, and I found it at the thrift store, so why not grab it? This is The Ref from, like I said, 94, and basically, Dennis Leary's character is a cat burglar, and he ends up holding up this bickering couple, and so it's supposed to be, a fate worse than anything, basically, is being with this bickering couple, so it's a comedy that I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy, because Dennis Leary is hilarious. Judy Davis is in this as well, so it should be pretty funny. The Ref from 1994. I was really excited to find this next one because I read his book, his most infamous book, In Cold Blood, last year, I guess it was. But this is Capote, which is the story of Truman Capote, and it's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman from 2006. This is one where Hoffman got a ton of praise for his job as Capote, and so I am really excited to see this, just to learn more about his life. I think will be fascinating. So yeah, very happy that I was able to find Capote. I keep saying it weird. I feel like Truman Capote. Whatever. From 2006. I'm just going to move on because I clearly can't talk right. This next one is a classic from 1953 with Audrey Hepburn in it and Gregory Peck. You can't go wrong with those two. This is Roman Holiday. Now, I know this one was released on the Paramount Classics line on Blu-ray, but it's 50 cents. I've never seen it before. I'll give it a shot. And if I love it, then I'll go back and purchase the Blu-ray for it. But I mean, Audrey Hepburn is one of the greatest of all time. She is just stunning in everything she does. So very much looking forward to this one. Roman Holiday from 1953. Next up is kind of a weird one for me, but it looked interesting. It has a different premise to it. So this is called Everything Everything from 2017, and it is a coming of age like teen romance basically. The main character, she cannot go outside. I guess she has some type of illness or disease where she can't go outside, but then the boy next door becomes a love interest, and so things take off from there. Like I said, kind of an interesting premise for this type of film. A little bit reminds me of like A Fault in Our Stars or The Fault in Our Stars, which I loved. It was very moving. And so I'm hoping this one kind of is similar to that. So Everything from 2017. Next up is just a stupid family comedy, but it has Kevin James in it, and I'm a huge Kevin James fan, thanks to King of Queens, which is one of my favorite series ever. But this is Kevin James in Zookeeper, and I think this is from 2011, yeah. So he is the titular zookeeper, and things are gonna go, awry, I'm sure. So yeah, just gonna be a dumb comedy, as they typically are with Kevin James, but I really like him, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Zookeeper from 2011. Next up is one from 1984, and I know I used to watch this when I was a kid. I don't remember any of it at this point, but I know I watched it when I was younger. This is the Care Bears movie, just a classic from 1984. What's really cool is it's super short, so this is one that my daughter will absolutely be watching. I guarantee she'll like this because she loves, stuffed animals and teddy bears. So yeah, just a childhood classic, the Care Bears movie. You can't go wrong with the Care Bears. So I know I shouldn't admit this, but I actually really like this movie. Now, I don't think I've seen this since theaters when it came out in 1999, but I loved it back then. It is like the quintessential teen movie to me. This is She's All That. This is one where like Not Another Teen Movie, they parodied it a lot. Parody? I don't know. I can't say that right. They do a parody of it quite a bit in that one. And so, yeah, I am very intrigued to revisit this one. This is like this, Freddie Prinze Jr. makes a bet with his friends that he can turn even the quote unquote ugliest girl or the most loser of the girls to like someone popular. And so that's what he sets out to do. But then of course things kind of get serious and they go from there. So I like this one, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So we'll see if the next time I watch it is just as good. She's All That from 1999. This next one is probably going to be dumb, but that's okay. It has Steve Carell, Anne Hathaway, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and Alan Arkin. We have Get Smart. And this one was released in 2008. So I'm hoping this one will be just really funny because I love this cast of characters. Steve Carell, of course, from The Office is just one of the best. Like, he's fantastic. And then, I love The Rock because I'm such a huge wrestling fan. So yeah, going to be very intrigued to finally check this one out. My mom used to love the original TV show of Get Smart. So I used to watch that a little bit when I was younger. So we'll see if this one is as funny as it looks. Get Smart from 2008. Next up, from 2003, is right up my alley because it's based on a serial killer. This is The Zodiac. So, of course, this is not to be confused with the David Finch, with the Fincher masterpiece, Zodiac, which is one of my favorite films ever. This is going to be a lower budget, kind of probably not that great from what I've heard about it in the past, but I still wanted to add it to the collection because it is about Zodiac, who actually is back in the news this week because there was a group of investigators who say that they've figured out who the Zodiac is. Now, to me, the evidence seems pretty circumstantial, so I'm holding my opinion until maybe a real police force comes out and says something about it, but it's intriguing nonetheless, and it's always interesting to get these well-known serial killers back in the media to maybe find some resolution for some families of the survivors. So anyway, that was a tangent you guys probably didn't need. The Zodiac from 2003. This next one has a snapper case, so shout out to Miranda there with the snapper. But this is Don Juan DeMarco, which I've always heard about, but I've never seen before. And it has Johnny Depp in it. Like, that's amazing. Faye Dunaway in here as well. So a really good cast, and it just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So had to pick it up. Not necessarily something I typically gravitate towards. I believe it's a romance, but that's okay. We'll see if it's any good. It's got Johnny Depp, so that's always cool. Don Juan DeMarco, and I think this one is from 95, I believe. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. Oh man, 2 snappers in a row with white oleander here. That's always cool. And this one is a movie that I've always heard great things about, like many things I talk about, but it's just one I've never gotten around to. So very intrigued to see what White Oleander is all about. It has a really good cast: Michelle Pfeiffer, Renee Zellweger, like an awesome cast. So this is another one that should be really entertaining when I get around to it. White Oleander. Here's one from 2018 that I was also pretty excited about because I actually read the book that this is adapted from last year, I think it was, and I really enjoyed it. It was quite a good book. This is Love, Simon, and this is another coming-of-age teen story, but this one is LGBTQ+, and it is done really well. At least the book that the film is based off of is done really well, so very intrigued to see how the movie holds up versus the book. But yeah, this was a really cute one when I got around to it, so happy to find this one on DVD. Love, Simon from 2018. Here is a really cool one with Denzel Washington. I remember watching half of this movie in the plane, loving it, but then never getting back to it for years. And then finally I watched the rest of it and it's awesome. This is Inside Man from 2006. And this is, basically it's a bank heist movie, but it is so good. Denzel is excellent in this, and I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen this one, check it out because it is so fun. If you enjoy like action heist movies, this one is right up your alley then. Inside Man from 2006 with the wonderful Denzel Washington. And last but not least is a movie that I was really surprised I didn't already own, but I didn't. And so this is Super Troopers from 2002. Everybody knows what this movie is, and most people like it. I know I was a big fan of it when I saw it, but it has been so long since I've seen this one now that I need to revisit it. The second one came out, and so it got really popular again. But yeah, I haven't seen the second one either. So I'll watch this one and then eventually track down Super Troopers 2. So very happy to add Super Troopers from 2002 to the collection. And that is going to wrap up everything I grabbed for this haul. All right, so there they are, all the movies at least. There's a stack of books over here too, of course, but that is everything that I found recently from the thrift store, so I think I make out pretty well. I do have a couple more stacks over there to show you guys, which I'm excited to get to. But let me know down in the comments below if you guys have seen any of these, what's worth my time, what's not. You guys always hook me up with some good recommendations, so leave those comments down below. I always appreciate that. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a like down below. That really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk books or movies. I talk all things media, be it books, movies, video games, graphic novels. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. And I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.